is time for the ultimate performance upgrade. Hide your Wi-Fi kids for the ultimate intercooler install. Or something like that. Yep, so the day's finally come to go ahead and try to make an attempt to install this bad boy. So I'm excited. Have never removed an intercooler from an Ecoboost car. From what I see, it's not too hard. I don't think I'm gonna have as much trouble getting the old one out as I'm going to have putting this one back in. So hopefully it isn't too much of a pain. Not like you have to endure it. You can just watch me endure it. So that's always nice, watching other people get tortured. Great entertainment. First thing I need to do is pull the car up here and get it on some ramps so I can start disassembling things I need to disassemble to get to it. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. So now that I got Buster pulled up here, I'm gonna go ahead and start disassembling things. I am not removing the front bumper cover. I'm actually gonna do this by removing the wind tray under here, and that will definitely give me enough space. The only problem is there's a lot more fasteners to remove this way. I'd rather just remove this and not have to worry about removing any of this since this has all been just replaced. I don't wanna mess anything up. Plus, I've already had that removed once before, so I'm comfortable with removing that. And then once I remove that, we can get the old one out and put this one in and gain 1,000,000 horsepowers.
Let's have some fun on Karz Kreated.
So I made some room under here. You can actually see everything really well. And of course this, whatever this is supposed to be. Ford calls it a charge air cooler and I call it a piece of crap. But pretty simple. I think I just have to remove this bar here. So there's this bar, 2 8mm. Buckle my shoe and remove that little support brace there. Set that to the side. And then there's a lonely 10mm. Where did I see it? Oh, here it is. It's right here. Yeah, easy squeezy. One clamp there. I'm going to get a ratchet on that one. Hold on. Now we're cooking with gas. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's actually the first time I've kind of been under here since the accident. Everything looks pretty good. You can tell where they put fresh paint here and along this part. Things look pretty solid down under here, thankfully. Remember, this is the side that did get hit. All right, there we go. I got that tube off there. Work that one off. Good. Now I think the only thing holding this up here is this little clip. So let me go ahead and take off my tip sensor. There, got that out of the way. Just, that can just hang out. Okay, so this clip here, there we go. You push in like that. Now you gotta get this little thing up and over that edge. All right, that was pretty easy. Oh, there it goes. All right, come on. I think it's almost out, guys. I thought that was it right there. Success! Well, I got it out, and we could just do a very simple comparison. Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Hefty, hefty, hefty. I mean, you gotta think. This is essentially 3 of these. Big, big difference. I can tell you there's also a big, big difference in weight. And of course, as you know, that is one thing I am upset about, you know, these aftermarket, at least this aftermarket intercooler, is the weight. But just to see how much of a difference there is, I have a scale. So we're gonna see how much the factory one weighs, which is hardly anything. This thing is light as a feather. How light, you ask? 6 pounds, 10.2 ounces. Look, I can't even lift this hardly with one hand. It's that heavy. All right, let's see. And we have, oh my God, 29.56 ounces. So what is that, 23 pounds heavier than the stock one? Oh my God. But 3 times more the cooling. All right, with that out of the way, next step is getting the tip sensor off, swapping that over, and then we can go ahead and try to wrestle this beast in. I'm not looking forward to that. So I got the tip sensor out, and yeah, this was a concern. Not to say this doesn't fit, but what I was concerned about is because this didn't come with any extra hardware, I realized that the fastener for the stock intercooler, which uses a coarse thread, you know, because it's going into plastic, does not work with this. This is a, you know, machine thread in here. Thankfully, I happen to have a bolt laying around from, I think it is from something I removed from the car, so this happens to be the correct thread, pitch, and everything. So that goes in there like that, works, it matches, and I get a nice hex head instead of a Torx, which not a big deal. So that crisis is averted. Well, another annoying thing I just now discovered with this intercooler. The hole for the tip sensor is a lot tighter than the factory one. So yeah, it pretty much chewed up the O-ring around the sensor, but thankfully I have a whole assortment of O-rings, and by using a couple different sizes and stacking them up, I think I made something work enough to seal, and shouldn't have any boost leaks there. So that's another annoying thing. I guess that just comes with this kind of product. Hopefully it goes into place way it needs to, because it's heavy and I only have me doing it. So I guess let's go ahead and wrestle this baby in there. I got you setting off to the side here because I need both hands for this operation, and I'm actually not sure how the best way to throw this in here is. GoPro, stop recording. Yep. So, not as easy of an install as I originally thought. Oh my God. So it is the next day. I ran out of time yesterday. The GoPro battery died as I was trying to wrestle this into place. What you didn't see was the excessive struggling that took place, and then the final realization that I had to pull the front bumper off, the crash bar, and everything else just to get this in place. But it's in there, so that's good. I had to get it in there so I could at least move the car out of the garage for the night and then finish it up in the morning. So what I didn't initially realize was that yes, the front end had to come off for this intercooler. Some of them, I guess, the ones that are just a single core like the factory, but maybe, you know, deeper, probably don't. But anything, these taller style intercoolers, yeah, unfortunately, this is the only way, really. With that said, I've noticed that some of these plastic bits in here were a pain in the butt, and they are not going to go back. Like this one here, this trim piece, they're not going to go back the way they need to with this intercooler. I don't know if this is a concern with all larger aftermarket intercoolers, that these pieces need to be removed or trimmed, but it is not going back. But yeah, now as I get all of this kind of put back together, and there is a lot. This harness runs behind the crash bar. I gotta relocate this. I have to put the damn radiator mounts back on because I had to take those off. That goes that way. So there's some wiggle room up here for moving all this junk around. Crash bar obviously has to go back on. I mean, there's bolts and fittings and nuts. I mean, that don't have to go back on, thankfully. Now I pull that off. The bumper cover's got to go back on. Oh my God, oh, so much. But thankfully, while I'm under here, this must have taken place when the car was getting worked on at the body shop, because I know they have taken the crash bar off for repair. And as you can see, there's a little rust here and a little bit here, just very little bit. I'm sure on the back of the crash bar as well. While all that's off, I'm gonna go ahead and try to take care of this rust real quick and clean up under here and try to repair some of these fins on the condenser here. So I'm gonna take care of all this real quick, and by real quick, probably half the day. So real quick, before I throw the bumper cover back on, I want to make a small but kind of an important note about this whole thing here. As you can see now, with the crash bar put back on, it's practically covering the top half of the intercooler. You know, the intercooler is right here. That kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, yeah, I get a little bit more here, but then the bumper is going to cover practically everything but this part here. So it's not tall enough to reach the top part of the grill. That definitely sucks because that will definitely impact performance. I am almost certain that's why the CV Fab race intercooler is taller. It is so much taller that it does, I think, like come up like that much into the top area of the top grill here, because all of this blocks the whole middle. Nevertheless, it is thicker, deeper, and it is definitely going to perform much better than the factory. Just wanted to make that note. Also, the little rubber flap that usually hangs out behind here, it attaches to the back side of the crash bar. This little thing right here. I had one point kind of zip tied it up because it was in the way. Well, it had to be removed because it was completely blocking everything. So that is another piece I had to remove on top of brace right there. And yeah, so a lot more of a in-depth install than I had originally thought. But hey, that's what you do for performance, right? Oh, look, it looks like a car again. Imagine that. Wow, that was a pain. That really reminds me of why modern cars suck, because you usually have to just pull everything apart to do one thing, just like I had to do. The cool thing is, very stealthy. You can't even tell there's an intercooler back there now. It's pretty cool. Now that that's all the way and some of the soreness and pain has subsided, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get in the car here. We're gonna go and have some fun. Like I said, a more in-depth testing video is coming. This is just to see kind of, you know, just how it's going with initial impressions. I got my X4 here. So right now, as the car's sitting, just kind of baking, IAT2s are 90. Look, they're actually starting to drop with the car idling. Obviously, that's the number we want to keep an eye on. So I'm curious to know how much it goes down just by light part throttle and accelerations. Right now, it's not too hot. You know, it's 85, so it's not too bad. Not worst case scenario, not best case. So I'm just kind of cruising. I mean, light throttle. And look at that. It went down from 98 to 96, 95, 93. That's just very light throttle operation. So light throttle and all that's great, but the whole purpose of this upgrade is how much does it affect under wide open throttle? So once the car gets warmed up here, we'll go ahead and do a couple pulls. So right now I'm gonna do a little bit of a pull, a light pull, full throttle, but like not like super high RPM pull. So see how well it does. Right now our temps are 113 post intercooler, so alright, that was a nice little pull. That brought him down to 102. Woo! So they go down to about 100. It's kind of hard to like hold the camera and watch the temps and all that at the same time. Like I said, just preliminary data. But it goes down to about 100 full throttle there. I have to see, you know, on a data log really what's going on. It's hard to tell, which is actually really good. So just to keep in mind that now it's gotten hotter out. So ambient temps 93, intake temps at the filter are 97. So the delta is so much lower. I mean, we're talking if the air coming in is 97 degrees, and the intercooler, post intercooler at wide open throttle is 100, so the delta is only 3 degrees versus freaking 40-50 degrees. Yeah, so I think the new intercooler is working, man, and it pulls a lot harder up top. Like, it doesn't feel like it falls off. It just stays nice and consistent up top, which is nice. That's a nice thing. And I guess that's because the car is not pulling back timing like it used to because of high intake temps. Bam! It's crazy how much harder it pulls up top. Oh my God. That is nuts. And all those pulls, my intake temps are still, like every time I do it, it still goes down to about 100 degrees. Right now it's about 110. Now the car's, you know, starting to get heat soaked, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. Oh, wow. Such an improvement. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm digging this a lot. I really am. I should have done this sooner, honestly. Even though that was definitely the most pain in the ass thing I've done with this car so far, it is probably next to the Boost Max, the next like noticeable difference in how the car is in power, because I'm not losing power under wide open throttle like I was originally. So yeah, holy crap. Man, I am so happy. So I'm glad. I'm glad I did that. It was a pain. I'm sore, and I'm probably going to be sore for the next 4 or 5 days. Well worth it. Well worth it. And you know, of course, be sure to keep a lookout for the next video where I do a data log and compare it with data I already have with the factory intercooler. So you don't want to miss out on that. But that's going to wrap it up here for this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with everyone you know. If you want to see more content like this and you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Keep a lookout for the next true car enthusiast video.